like to weigh in a whole lot on politics, but unfortunately, as you guys all know, this is going to be coming at you pretty much 24/7 for the next several months, and there's going to be no escape for any of us. But I did want to bring this up. This was something that somebody had asked me about RFK, and so I'll give you my take on this. And I'm going to be as even-handed as I can be with my opinion of what I'm seeing from RFK. And this is from the remember, keep in mind, I'm coming from the sort of the financial side of things. I look at this from a money aspect. I don't look at this from a cultural aspect. Although there is something to be said for the cultural aspects, but I'm not really approaching it from that. I'm approaching it more from the finance side of it. So to just understand that that's where I'm coming from. I saw the RFK speech. There was this video that he released about 9 minutes long. I recommend it. I think you should watch it. It's a great speech. I mean, I envy his ability to speak so well. And I mean, I realize it's professionally written and boiled down. It's not going to be like any of the stuff that I produce, where I'm just off the cuff. I'm just telling you what I think. I don't have anything prepared. I'm just reacting. Well, well, in the speech, he talks about um, how great America was, and how where we came from, our history, and so on. He talks about going when he was growing up. And I hate to break this down, but into the generational thing, but I mean that is a very boomer way of looking at it. And the reason I say that, just be patient with me here. This isn't an anti-boomer rant. This is just me pointing this out. The reason the baby boom generation is called the baby boomers is because it was a boom. It was abnormal. It was not the norm to have mortality be so low and have that many kids at one time. This created an economic boom, right? It also was just after a war. And of course, there was also enormous amounts of largesse spending, enormous amounts of fiat money printing that was spent in the economy. And that's what created that economy that he talks about. Now, the idea is that, well, we can have that again. Like, well, we really can't. That actually, not in the way that you're going about it. You can't do it with just endless fiat largesse. You'd actually have to have a real economy and a real culture. And in order to pull something like that off, you need to let everything divest itself. You need to let all these giant companies fail, because that's who's made all the money. And in fact, he even does mention that, is that all of the wealth that's been created has been absorbed by these mega companies. Well, of course they've been absorbed by mega companies, because in the 70s, early 70s, a defined benefit pension was switched to a defined contribution, which shoved a bunch of money into the stock market. What that effectively did was subsidize a bunch of companies and gave them more money than they ever had any business with having. And it made these companies gigantic and had them constantly trying to be in a growth mode. Well, in order to grow a mega company like the Blob, right, old Steve McQueen movie, in order to grow a company like that, you have to absorb all of your competition. You have to absorb all your mom and pops, all your small businesses. In so doing, when you absorb all of your small businesses, you destroy your economy long term. For real, that's exactly what happens. Remember the whole five. Remember the five things we look at when we look at an economy. Any economy, no matter what it is, there's five things we look at. What's number three? It's small businesses. Are small businesses functioning? Do they own their property? Do they own their building? Do they own their businesses? Are they working there themselves full time, or are they just trying to grow their way out of it, kind of thing? This is something that needs to be understood. And there's no way around this stuff. So the latter part of the speech goes into platitudes and hopefulness, and I'm okay with all that stuff. That's fine. Not everybody has to be as dour as I am. But understand, there is a reality that is getting ignored by this generation. And it's the reality of, look, we can fix this stuff, but not the way you're going about it. We can't do it the old way anymore. The old way doesn't work any longer. Largely because, well, I mean, you've got people now that are afraid, Americans are afraid to have fucking kids. That's like fundamental, dude. That's biological. That's not even, there's not even financial. That goes beyond all that. And you've got a bunch of young people now that are terrified to even have fucking kids because they don't know if they're going to be able to take care of them, right? And of course, the solution right now that we're seeing is just we'll open the borders and and flood the country with illegals, and they'll have a bunch of kids. Like, yeah, but then what about the culture that existed here prior to that? Right? We don't talk about that because it's like, well, that doesn't fit the narrative, does it? Well, no, it doesn't. Of course not. and it doesn't fit what the bankers want. Remember, this is all a money issue, right? You have to understand. I mean, like, so let me just tie this off. This is a money issue. When banks lend money, they only lend principal, not the interest to pay it back, which means that all these mega companies out there, they're all hugely in debt. They have no way to pay any of this shit. No, there's no money to pay any of this back. There's no, for real, there's no money to pay any of this back. So as a result of that, okay, you understand, that's why they have to keep this illusion of growth going. That's where all this bullshit comes from. Once you understand that, you start to realize, like, no, there is no way out of this the way that these guys are going about it. And Trump is no different. Biden, like, why would I even bring up Biden? For real, the guy's he's not even in charge of anything anyway, from what I can tell. So, and they're just trying to make money, it seems. Most of those people are just trying to make money. But Trump isn't any better, unfortunately, on this. And he actually is willing to actually post his plan, but his plan is, once again, a bunch of platitudes and unworkable solutions that like, where's the money going to come from to pay for? Like, what part of we're broke don't you understand, Don? Dude, like, I realize you're a billionaire. Maybe you'll get a HELOC on Mar-a-Lago or something like that, and you can pay for all this shit. But, dude, the average American's fucking broke. Right? Like, we're tapped out. Well, no, we'll make the rich pay for it. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. They don't have any money either. Think about it this way. Why is it all these multi-billion dollar companies are all billions of dollars in debt? It's because they're all broke. Okay, they don't really have the money you think they do. As with most, I think I said this a long time ago in a video. Most rich people aren't as rich as you think they are. I realize they play the role of being the super rich, powerful guy, going to ball games and shit like that, waving to the cameras. Dude, they're fucking broke. Most of these guys don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. When you start taking assets over liabilities, when you start actually looking at what they end up owing, most of these people don't owe any. They don't have fucking money at all. So, and certainly not to the levels that you think they do, that they can bail out an entire country of people, right? I mean, like, there is no way of bailing this out. This isn't a top-down thing. Right, you have to do this bottom up. And I don't think any of these guys, I don't think any of them know how to actually solve any problem from the bottom up, because they've been on the top for so long. I mean, look at who these guys are. These are all billionaires. They're all super rich boomers that grew up in a different time. They're not actually out here on the ground having to deal with all this shit, right? So I mean, you want to talk to the people who know how to fix things. You need to find people that are actually on the fucking ground doing this stuff. There you go.